Check two. So Toregi or Torige suggests that if you virtually clean your crew at sea in the Atlantic, you will get a free box of Chekios. Not Cheerios, Chekios.
If you can check as good as AJ, you are legally 10,000 IQ. Only 0.0000001% can pass this challenge.
Okay, so you're doing those type of checks. I'm gonna do this type of check. The first words that I see: 101 things that Twix says I love you. Chiquita Toregi, white Christmas blessings in the notifications in the Facebook app. Add a friend.
But it doesn't
That
flow.
doesn't, yeah.
It's got to flow.
Yeah, it's gotta be
I
like
think it pretty flowed. It flowed pretty well. Posted in the DC Universe Facebook. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this new episode of the CrossGen podcast. Again, thank you for joining us. Today, we're going to be talking about a topic that the kids came up with.
Yeah.
PvP and console wars and video games.
A jumble of
video games in general.
PvP stuff.
Online gaming
Yeah.
stuff.
PvP.
All right.
Mainly.
So there you have it. That's what we're going to be talking about today. But before we do, we've got some maintenance that we got to go over. I would just like to tell you to please rate, review, and subscribe to this awesome podcast that's called the CrossGen Podcast. If you really like us, please drop us a line. And especially this April, it's important for us to get those reviews because our host, our wonderful host who keeps all of our stuff in terms of podcasting, Captivate, they've partnered with Podchaser on their second #Reviews for Good campaign. And so what it is that for every review that is written on Podchaser in April, Podchaser will be donating 25 I can't even say it today. It's so overwhelming and exciting that I can't even spit out the words. Let's try this again. Podchaser is donating 25 cents for every review written in April to the Meals on Wheels America's Go Further Fund. All you have to do is just write a review on Podchaser and they will donate the 25 cents. If we reply to your review on Podchaser, they will double the donation and they will be matching all donations on Captivate hosted platforms up to $1,000. So
It's pretty insane.
yeah, this is a really, really good way to do something very, very simple and have it help people in need. Because what the Go Further Fund does is that it helps deliver healthy meals, social contact, and support to seniors who have been impacted negatively in the pandemic. And I know that there's a lot of people out there hurting because of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is one way that you can do your part to kind of help those people. So please, if you have the time, go out to Podchaser, find our podcast, leave us a review, and know that your kind words will help someone in need to the tune of 25 cents. And if we get enough people to review, we can really do some good here for those seniors that are in need in this pandemic. So again, it's Podchaser. The campaign is #Reviews for Good. And please, if you can, just drop a line, set a review. We'll be looking at our Podchaser page. And as soon as we see a review, we'll reply to it to see if we can maximize those donations out to Meals on Wheels. So there you go.
Woohoo! Right?
So now that we've got our standard stuff out of the way, let's get into the podcast and let's talk about PvP, video games, online gaming,
All of that.
all of that.
Yeah,
Some of that.
some of that.
None
So
of that.
this started really because yesterday you were on the PlayStation 4 and you and Uncle Jose decided
To do
let's get
streaming.
on a live stream to do a Twitch broadcast
Yep.
of you guys dying in Call of Duty. You
Getting
guys you guys were
destroyed.
playing Modern Warfare or you guys were playing Warzone?
Modern Warfare. You were doing Battle Royale. I don't know the
That's the
difference because I
Warzone.
haven't played
That's
it.
Warzone then.
Okay.
So Modern Warfare is more of the single campaign and the multiplayer, and the
Yeah.
battle royale is Warzone.
Yeah.
So you guys did you guys actually did a Twitch stream yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
How'd that go?
See, it was fun, but we were just getting destroyed. So there's not much to say there. But I mean, it was a really fun experience. I think for our first time, that went really well. We
Okay.
had one fan, so if that one fan is listening,
Thanks.
Woo!
Woo.
but yeah, um,
Well, considering that you put no social media behind it, letting anybody know,
Yeah.
the fact that you had one fan is amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty.
So
That's pretty
you
insane.
know, I guess the next time you guys will do it, maybe you'll actually announce it ahead of time, and maybe we'll get some more fans
More.
watching. You
Yeah.
guys get destroyed and killed in COD,
Yeah,
Warzone,
definitely.
and stuff. So
but
I think you guys are doing it again today, right? Or are you guys just playing?
I think we're just gonna play today. I'm gonna ask him later. I don't know what time I'm gonna set it up for, but yeah, definitely we're gonna do it.
Okay.
So basically, what is one of your most favorite PvP games, and what genre? What genre? And then you can get into the game.
I like sci-fi. Sci-fi is my thing.
So shooter.
Halo.
Yeah,
Halo.
it's. I'm gonna have to say it's Halo.
Halo.
Straightforward. If you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. You don't have to wait 5,000 years to respawn.
Mhm.
You just complete and utter carnage. Simple.
I think mine's is gonna be a little bit more. I guess you could say complex and maybe a little bit controversial. It all depends. Not controversial, but
I can see a lot of people
Controversial
won't agree with me here, but I
Wow.
think Minecraft is one of my favorite PvP games. My favorite genre for PvP games is generally shooters,
pick. Mhm.
but Minecraft has taken its place as pretty up top PvP game in my opinion.
So how do you play Minecraft as a PvP game?
See,
That's
Cheetah-
where
yes.
I guess that's where the controversy is
yeah,
coming from.
right. Well, AJ doesn't exactly believe that PvP is different, but I happen to think that it's very different from other games because since Minecraft is a sandbox game, there's less limits. You have a lot more freedom to do what you want. So, I mean, in Minecraft, I guess all you can do besides like other strategies, you're just using a sword or an axe and a bow and a shield. So yes, you are right, AJ, when you said that earlier.
So are you fighting against other people? Is
yeah.
this in survival mode, I guess?
Yeah,
No.
this isn't survival.
Oh, well, yes, you'd use survival, but it be in a completely different, like Minecraft Realms type thing.
Yeah, it'd be on a server,
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
and you have to like build your way up by gathering materials, resources, whatever. But
So basically it's a free for all on a map in a sense.
it's
There's no rules. It's you make the rules, right?
well, there are rules. That's what you have anarchy servers for, like 2B2T, where you basically do whatever the hell you want. I know that there's a lot of people out there. That's a very controversial server. I mean, especially with the fact that there are swastikas. People
Ooh.
put swastikas, and
That's bad.
yeah, it's very controversial. But regular servers, they have rules. No hackers, and I mean, I guess I don't really know rules for much servers because I haven't actually played on one. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just no hackers and stuff like that.
Okay. Okay. I guess me for PvP.
Yeah.
I'm a sports guy. I like playing sports games.
Madden.
So Madden,
Yeah.
NBA, racing games
Racing
are
game.
really really cool. I like doing. For me, PvP is really cool when you're doing games like Gran Turismo,
Yeah.
when you're doing games like Need for Speed. Burnout Paradise is also very interesting because Burnout Paradise, you have people just driving around. It kind of reminds me of an old game way back in the days called Test Drive, and I think that's one of the really first ones that embraced the PvP environment, because in that game they fully recreated one of the islands in Hawaii. I believe it was Oahu, but I'm not sure. They recreated it brick for brick, road for road, um, sidewalk for sidewalk. And what they did was the cars that were on the map were not CPUs, were not
It
what's
was
the
only
word?
players.
It, everybody that was on the map was only players.
Oh
And
gosh.
so the way that you want, if you wanted to race somebody, you drive up behind them, flash your high beams, and you were in a race. And whether if they accepted,
Wow.
you would race. And of course,
What? Wow.
there was some previously set places where if you drive up to the place, there was a race there. But literally, if you're just driving around and you saw a guy and it was like, you know what, I could take that guy. You just drive up, flash your high beams, and if he accepted, it was a
This was
race.
an online game.
This was an online only game.
So
So
the
you
question
could not play this game offline. You had to have a consistent online presence. You had to have the connection. But every single person that was on that map was an actual person.
The only thing that's running through my head right now is toxicity. Was there any toxicity in those games? Like, would you have people who would just crash into other people like crazy? Because I would figure if I were on that server today, there would be a bunch of people just like crashing into each other, just flashing their headlights and just completely causing anarchy.
Not really. I mean,
Really?
it was,
Wow.
but again, this was really, really early on. This was one of the first games that actually did that. So I don't think the rules of engagement were kind of well known, and I don't think people were as crazy back then as they are now.
Hmm.
So, and the other thing, and I'd have to research this a little bit more, but this was a game that was made by Atari,
Oh.
and so I think what they did was that once you started in a race by yourself, then, and don't quote me on this because I could be wrong, then they would take out the multiplayer element and then drop in just like bots so that people couldn't interfere in your race. So they had mechanisms to kind of help you out there and
Yeah, but
stuff,
even still,
you
it's
know.
like, so I'm guessing like it's like a lobby.
No, because everything was always on. There was, you never stopped in a lobby. There was never anything like that.
No, like for like when you're like gonna ask for like a race.
I think they put you onto a different server which had the same map, and it was flawless,
Mm.
except you wouldn't have any interference from other people, so you can race as you wanted to
So
race.
people were interfering.
No, but I think that's one of the mechanisms they thought about, and they said, you know what, let's do this way. You know, again, I'm not sure. I have to research it, but this just popped into my head while we were talking about it. So those are one of the things that really excited me. Test Drive was awesome,
Okay.
and like I said, it was an online community that was on all the time. So anytime you dropped in, there were people from around the world on there, and no bots whatsoever.
Hmm.
So
That sounds kind of crazy. I mean, I'm just gonna get into this now.
well, MMOs do that quite
MMOs.
frequently,
Well, yeah,
you know.
MMOs. Yeah.
So it was basically a car MMO, if you want to think about it that
Yeah,
way,
but
you know.
that's crazy because you compare PvP games to what we have today. Um, for instance, I know this isn't technically related to PvP, but
When you see where I'm gonna go with this, you will understand. GTA 5
The online version.
online version.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Originally that obviously wasn't exactly set out to be a PvP game. I guess you could say, form alliances and stuff like that with other people. But I mean,
That
as a
one you
right,
can kill other people.
yeah, you
right?
can still kill other people, but at this point, like, GTA 5 honestly just turned into a war zone, because I mean, it has been turned into COD, because that's all people do now, just shoot.
Well,
And I think that has
I mean, what else would you do
I
in
know, but
GTA
like
5?
online,
Yeah. If you
yeah,
say
but
pull
like,
off a heist, you're still shooting people.
no, shooting players, it's PvP.
Well, that was always an option, though, wasn't it?
Yes, but like, there's a difference. Toxicity has grown now in recent games, and I think that's grown. You can really see it this era, because you have like freaking 8-year olds who like are addicted to like Fortnite and stuff like that. And yeah, toxicity has really grown, and PvP has really taken over, I think.
Okay. So what are some of the other games that you guys like playing that's PvP? Obviously, fighting games is a really good thing.
Mortal
We
Kombat.
actually did we did a tour of like PS4, PS Now fighting games, right?
Yeah,
Recently, yeah.
Yeah, where we played. What did we play? We played Tekken 7.
we
We
did Dead or
did
Alive
Dead or Alive 5
and Dead
and
or
Dead or Alive
Alive.
5 Final Round.
Yeah,
And wasn't there another game that we did? It
No,
was just those three?
It was just those three.
Okay.
yeah.
So, I mean, that's a local PvP that we did, but there are ways of doing that um online,
Yeah.
and we see tournaments where they're using these games as their main games, right?
Yeah.
So
Mortal Kombat, like I never mention it, but they hold their own like annual live streamed tournaments. Like
Well, yeah, that's
I'm
a lot
always
of.
seeing it on Facebook. Like Mortal Kombat is now streaming so and so tournament.
No,
Yeah.
it's esport
Mortal Kombat is
things.
big. Dragon Ball Fighter Z is big
Ooh.
as an esports. Tekken 7. I mean, the other day I was watching a video where they were showing a guy who kind of came out of his face a little too early in the tournament and got owned at the end. So, but that's a big thing, right? So,
Yeah.
what do you guys think about that in terms of fighting games? How does that work with PvP? Is that a good thing, or is it way too short of an experience? Like, because literally you're fighting one guy, and once you beat him, it's on to the next.
Yeah.
So do you think that's a good way of doing PvP, or would you rather see longer experiences like the Halo fights, like a Grand Theft Auto experience where you're on a map for a long
I
time
mean, the
doing
No.
crazy
only
things?
way I could see that happening is if they give you like 3 bars worth of health that you have to whittle down slowly. I don't think it would work in that case because then it just kind of gets like you get fatigued as you're fighting. Like, okay, so I got to come up with a combo that this guy won't be able to break. I gotta pace myself accordingly. If I screw up even this one thing, then he's gonna unleash his combo of unending destruction. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like having it the way it is now is perfect.
Well,
I
I
guess
wouldn't say.
But I guess the question that I ask is, when you're doing PvP, do you appreciate the shorter experiences like
Yeah,
the fighter games, or do you like more of, like, I guess, GTA 5, where it's a longer
No, I don't like.
experience when you're on the map for a little bit more
Yep.
and you're interacting with more people?
But here's
I
the
guess
thing:
that's the question.
GTA 5 wasn't meant to be a PvP game
I know,
online.
I know, but
But
it's kind of morphed into that a little
yeah,
bit, right?
I would say. See, here's the thing: I would appreciate shorter experiences, but I mean, as of right now, fighting games such as Mortal Kombat, it seems like it's just remakes. over and over again. It's just like
Well, that's
copy
because
and
it's a
pasting.
that's the genre.
Yes, but like you have things such as um Dead or Alive. Dead
That's
or
the same genre.
Yeah, but there's a difference there because Dead or Alive is actually like it has differences to it. You have actual strategy when in Mortal Kombat. Yes, you can do perform combos and stuff like that, but there's no actual sense of strategy there.
What combos you perform, when you perform them, and how you perform them.
And then you
Yeah.
compare it to like what's that samurai game?
Bushido Blade.
Bushido Blade, where you have different stances and
I think what he's trying to get at in terms of the fighting is the realism behind the fights, because yes, Mortal Kombat, I gather, and again, I don't play it all that much, but it feels like Mortal Kombat is really a Twitch game, right? Where it's like you have to be able to perform the combo first in order to get over on your opponent, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
Whereas games like Bushido Blade, even games like Dead or Alive to a certain aspect, it's really more about strategy. It's a more
Yeah.
of a slower game because you really have to focus on, you know, the right stance, um, the right move to use at a certain time, countering and things like that. You know what I mean? So I
yeah.
think that's the point that Eli's trying to make.
So
So what do you think about that?
yeah, I was gonna ask you that. What do you think about today? Do you think that today's games are just basically copy and pasting? You're just doing the same format.
Well, no, because that's what the genre is.
Yeah, but
Games like Mortal Kombat, Injustice, and all that, all those newer ones, they fall into a genre.
you can
And
still.
that is the genre,
Yeah,
the
but
twitchy whatever.
yeah, but here's my thing. You can't. You can still change up genres. Just because it falls into the genre doesn't mean that it has to be exactly the same.
Okay, doesn't mean it has to be exactly different either. Some people like the
No, yes,
twitchiness
but
to it.
I what I'm trying to say here is that they shouldn't wouldn't you want them to be a little bit more varied with the stuff that they do? I'm gonna ask Bot this.
I mean, there is something to be said about that, because when you look at online tournaments, what do we do? It's usually either a battle royale or capture the flag or deathmatch. And regardless of the game, they're always the same experience, right?
Yeah.
So it's just you're putting a shine on what it is. So instead of doing a death match in Halo, you're doing a death match in Call of Duty. You're doing a death match in Battlefield. You know, it's different properties, but the same style of game. And so,
Exactly.
I guess the question is, would you want a change in that? Would you want to see something different?
I don't see any reason for it to change. No.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So because and again, I'm not too familiar with esports, so you guys can help me out on this. Are there esport tournaments when it comes to like MMOs, like Final Fantasy or Fantasy Star or things like that?
No, not really.
So it's basically
It's just battle royale,
when
capture the flag.
so when you're
Stuff like that.
esports, it's either a shooter or a fighting game,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and sports games, because they
Yeah.
do that, right?
Yeah.
So those are the three components of esports.
Wii
Is there anything else?
Sports.
Oh, racing.
Oh
Well, I
yeah, that
guess
too.
I guess you would lump that in sports games, right?
Yeah.
No.
But is there anything else?
No.
Wii Sports.
Wii Sports, esports.
That actually used to be a thing, if I remember correctly.
Esports.
Is there
Yeah.
anything in virtual reality that they're doing?
Oh, I don't
Oh
know.
yes. Oh my gosh. No, I don't think so. I'd have to search that up, but that would be a great component of esports
I don't know
usage now.
where,
Maybe like a
but
rhythm game,
I read
Oh, Beat
somewhere
Beat
that
Sabers.
like Beat
Dungeons
Saber.
and Dragons was gonna have its own tournament or something like that.
Yeah.
I heard
Yeah, that
about that.
works.
Well, they do have Dungeons and Dragon tournaments, like in comic book stores.
Oh,
They do that along with Pokemon and things like that.
oh, Pokemon. That's
You
a
know,
They do
popular
you're
that.
one.
you're battling with your cards and stuff.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, like, as because I remember they wanted to make it like an actual e-sport event.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they do have VR esports.
Okay. So how does the VR esports work? Does it say?
Um, I'm
Like
just
what are the type of games that they use in VR esports? Again, is it
um.
shooting? Is it because
Does it say
VR
shooting?
is kind of a new thing. I mean, it's been
Yeah.
around for a while, but I think now with the advent of the Oculus Quest, which we talked about in a previous episode, and the fact that the PS4 has a VR component to it, also, I think now it's a little bit more accessible for people, right?
Yeah.
So, how do you do a VR esports though?
Well, see, there aren't any. At least I don't think so. It's not as popular, but
There is a game you could do it.
The game that you guys like to play, right? On the
The
Quest.
Beat Sabers. You have
no. The one
the
you always like doing
yeah
with the
the
with the
frisbee thing.
disc.
What is the name of
Um.
that?
Oh, I don't
Oculus.
remember. No, it's
Oculus.
not called Oculus.
It's something to do with VR.
Let me see if I can find it while you guys continue to speak on this. You know,
But yeah, I mean, there are
Echo VR.
ways. Yeah, Echo VR.
Echo
That's
VR.
what it's
So Echo
called.
VR is kind of like how can you? It's Tron in zero gravity, right? Is that a
Yeah.
Yeah.
good way of doing it? Tron meets zero gravity meets
Tron Soccer.
like hockey or soccer, right?
Yeah. And meets
Except you're not
iRobot.
Yeah, except you're not kicking it. What you're doing is you're grabbing these discs and you're flinging them around in that zero gravity space,
And
right?
you hit
Yeah, and
people in this
then
game.
you could like hit them over the head to stun them, do a blocking.
So it's rugby.
In a way, I guess.
It's
Sure.
VR. It's VR zero gravity rugby
I guess I don't
Basically.
know much
with
about that
highlight
game.
I don't
involved.
know what rugby is.
You know what rugby is?
No.
No.
Okay. It's a European sport. It's very very popular. It's think of football except it never stops. You know, like in football, once somebody gets tackled, the play stops and then you reset.
Yeah.
It no. In this one, you keep going. Um, and again, I'm not a big avid watcher of rugby, but there are times where there are like 20 people pushing each other trying to get to the ball that's on the floor, and then once the guy grabs it, he starts running, and then everybody on the other side tries to chase him until they tackle him, and then the ball falls on the ground, and then there's a scrum to try and get the ball, and then it keeps going until somebody scores a touchdown or they scores points. I don't know exactly what the phrase is.
Hmm.
So basically, it's always on. You never stop. And then there's highlight, which is a sport that was popularized during the Miami Vice years. It was big in Florida, where you take a stick. It's like field hockey.
Hmm.
You have a stick, and there's a ball in there, and you throw it, and you have to throw it into a net. So it
Mm.
seems like it's a combination of these two.
Yeah.
That's what Echo VR
I
is,
think.
except you're robots.
Yeah.
That sounds like lacrosse.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. It's highlight lacrosse. It's kind of the same thing.
Ah,
You know?
okay. Gotcha.
So I guess you could do that as an esports, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely esports
Because that's a
potential.
multiplayer game, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Here's the thing with esports. There are so many possibilities. They just don't take it. I mean, let's just put it this way. Here's what they can do for esports. FNF. Friday Night Funkin'. By God, that would work. That would work. Right.
What's that?
Okay. Friday Night Funkin' is I don't know what you would call that. What
That
genre?
sounds like a dancing game,
A
to be
party.
honest.
I guess it would be like a party game. But search it up. Friday Night Funkin' is like basically where you're supposed to. It's like Beat Sabers almost. You have to press. I don't know how to explain this. You're up against another dude, right? Like and basically what you have to do is it's very popular. What you have to do is there's like an arrow that goes up into like this HUD section, and you have to press the arrow right as the arrow goes into the HUD section. It's like,
It's a rhythm game.
yeah, it's like what's it? Guitar Hero.
Yeah, well, Wikipedia has it as a play style reminiscent of Dance Dance Revolution and Parappa the Rapper.
I don't know what those are.
So
I know Dance Dance
Dance Dance Revolution is
Revolution.
kind of like the thing that we used to have for the Xbox on the Connect, where
Yeah.
you dance. Parappa the Rapper was an old Sega Dreamcast game
Oh, I've heard of that.
where you have to you make rhymes
Oh,
and stuff, and
yeah, I
it's
played
beat.
that.
So basically, what you do is a rhythm game where the player must pass multiple weeks with multiple songs, and the player typically faces a different opponent, and so you're supposed to sing a pattern of notes, and as the songs get more complex, the notes get more complex. So yeah, it's a little bit like Guitar Hero, a little bit like Parappa the Rapper, which was kind of similar in the same way, um, and stuff. So okay, it's super popular, you know, um,
Yeah.
and it's available on the browser, the Microsoft Windows, Mac OS, Linux. Uh,
It's available on any consoles. I would think not, right?
no, it's not because it's kind of like a flash game.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of the consoles.
For esports. Wait, what? For consoles?
Wait, what? You
oh,
talking about Minecraft now
Minecraft? No,
again?
Minecraft
Oh
for
my god.
esports.
I mean, technically you can, but
You
like,
really can.
Bro,
for good
Minecraft
builds,
Manhunt. Okay, technically that would
oh,
be a
that would take
1v3.
forever.
Yeah, that would be a 1v3. Well, it wouldn't take forever.
Those maps are huge, and potentially you can dig yourself a hole and never be found again in
No, but
one
for
of those caverns and stuff,
like
right?
for well, yeah, but like
You'd have to restrict it to a certain area.
I mean,
Dreams Manhunts. He's a very famous YouTuber. He works with George Not Found, Sapnap, Bad Boy Halo, and then you also have like other people like Tommy in it and Technoblade. There was a whole war between Technoblade and Dream. But like basically, Manhunt is where like there's one dude. He's trying to finish the game, and he's up against three people like George Not Found, Sapnap, and Bad Boy Halo. Right? They have to kill him before he kills the Ender Dragon. Basically, whenever they die, okay, Dream, the one who has to run away and beat the game, cannot die. If he does die, it's over. These three people, the hunters, they can die and they'll respawn in a general area near the dude who's being chased. And basically that goes on until they get to the end and they kill the Ender Dragon. What?
so on top of running away, you have to beat the game?
Yeah. It's pretty easy.
That sounds like it's gonna take forever.
No, it takes generally around, I would say, 25 to 45 minutes. It's like a
Huh.
speed run. It's easy if you're a professional.
Right.
Or you could have it like a speed run. Whoever, for esports, you can have a speed run. Whoever finishes the game in the shortest amount of time. I know that some dude finished finished the game like pretty quickly. I don't remember where, but yeah. There's a lot of ways you can do Minecraft esports here. Or you could just do a basic one-on-one.
Right. Okay. So with that, we brought up consoles earlier.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't. So I'm having trouble framing this.
What
Does
is it?
I can't
What?
speak right now.
Speak. Console, PlayStation, Xbox,
Yeah.
Switch. Go.
Um. So how exactly? I'm gonna pass this to you because this was your idea, Eli. How is this gonna? How is this transitioning here?
What? For
W-
console wars?
Console wars and online gaming, PvP, that stuff.
Well, the thing about the new consoles really is there seems to be a trend away, just in general, of, in the past couple of years, you haven't really seen a lot of games that have single player campaigns.
Oh my
Yeah.
You know,
god,
there's
that
there's
is
been
annoying.
there's been a trend away from that.
Skyrim was like probably like last of its kind.
Yeah, and even Skyrim, they went into Elder Scrolls Online with the
Oh God, no.
Tamriel edition,
Yeah.
right? Is that what it was? So you see that there's more of a focus now with these consoles in terms of having online experiences, as opposed to more of the couch co-op, which is something that we struggle to find sometimes, right?
Mhm.
um, in terms of single player campaigns and things of that nature. Marvel Avengers is one that recently came out that really, really focused on the single player campaign. They did try to add a multiplayer component to it, and that did not go over so well. Um, but there are still companies that are trying to do it. But now that we're going into this new generation of consoles, meaning the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, these these machines are infinitely more powerful than the previous generation. And that's one thing that online players have always kind of really been um worried about, because a lot of the really, really good games have been on PC, and a lot of those experiences have been on PC because the players have the ability to mod and build out these computers, which would be powerful enough to handle the software.
Yeah, definitely.
Now that the Xbox and the PlayStation 5 is kind of approaching those high end gaming rigs, um, there is also a focus away from online storage as opposed to on console storage. I mean, the other day, PlayStation 4, what was the difficulty that we had in order to get Call of Duty running, right?
Working the mic.
Well, not even that. Just getting the update.
Oh yeah, the update.
The
Oh
update was a
Jesus.
huge problem for us, right?
That's COD though. COD is known for its like its major updates. Like
But the problem is that that's going to be an ongoing thing, not just with COD, because now, with these more powerful machines, that means that they can make more powerful software to play on those machines, which means now you're going to need more space.
Yeah,
So,
but
you know,
yeah,
um, I don't know where I'm going with this, but do you see the new consoles as being a big impact on online gaming?
yeah. See, here's the thing. Um, what I meant by console wars earlier is the fact that consoles are harder to play PvP on. I mean, that's been a whole thing for a while now. You have Java players; they have the ability to freaking scroll click, which is basically like all you have to do is, you know how you have the mouse and
Yeah.
then you have the little scroll thing. All you need to do is do the weird scroll, and then all of a sudden it's going like 1,000 clicks per 5 minutes. That's scroll clicking right there.
Okay.
So yes, you might be asking how does that transfer over to PvP? Well, let's just put it this way. You have I'm gonna go back to Minecraft, of course. But let's say you have like a bunch of XP bottles that you need to use, right?
Okay.
All you need to do is look up in the sky, scroll click, you have all the XP in the world. Yes, it's going to be a little bit laggy, but you basically get where I'm going with this. And plus, Java, all in all, the camera controls are way easier. Again, going back to Minecraft, all you need to do is use your mouse, and wherever you, I guess, point the key. I mean, point the clicky thing,
Cursor.
the cursor. That's where you look. So while in Bedrock, I mean not in Bedrock, in console, you need to actually have to wait um for the not
Okay,
RS
that's
The
just a
joystick.
the joystick.
versatility issue, though.
Yeah, that's what
Because
I meant by console
computers,
wars.
sky's the limit.
Sky's the limit, and that's what
But
I mean.
But the problem becomes is that when you start opening up these games to cross-platform.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
especially a
That
thing with PS5.
becomes an issue because, and it's been shown over the years, PC players have a natural advantage to console players because of the fact that they have the keyboard and mouse setup. Whereas over with the console, you're dealing with a joystick, and the joystick is inherently slower than actually scrolling around with the mouse and just clicking on an area.
Mhm.
So I guess that's where the next question is: should we be opening up these experiences to cross-platform? And if so, is there a responsibility on the game developers to kind of nerf the the PC crowd to make it more of an even playing field for everybody involved?
See, you can still do cross-platform, but there has to be like limits to it. Like maybe if you're in, I don't know if they had. Do they have COD Warzone on PC?
Sure.
They do. Okay, so then make it so that there are different servers for these types of things. Which I'm pretty sure they do that, right?
Again, I don't know how the mechanics of it work. I do know that there are a lot of games that are cross-platform, so you can play it now, whether it's cross-platform console or cross-platform PC. But I believe that you can do both.
Hmm.
So does that give the PC crowd an unfair advantage?
I mean, I would imagine so because, like I was saying earlier, it really comes down to an issue of versatility. They sky's the limit when it comes to whether they make these like complex controllers and setups. So in that case, cross-platform gaming it really does become an issue. Because then everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, it's not fair. They can do that. Oh, well, they should just get an upgrade. Oh, well, you can't really do that. Well, I did it. Well, it
Yeah.
becomes this great big mess that you have to sort through."
Yeah. But
So let me
yeah.
ask you this then, in terms of cross platform, see the advantage of creating games for a specific platform is that everybody, especially with the consoles, will have a certain technical specification, right? The difference is that when you're doing PC, not everybody has the same gaming rigs. Some of them have more powerful gaming rigs, some of them don't. So the question then becomes, with cross platform, do you then kind of dumb down the game to the lowest common denominator and then kind of change the game experience like that because you're not providing everything, knowing that there are certain platforms that won't be able to run it?
Well, you see, that's where you kind of come upon a double-edged sword because if you dumb it down too much, then that sect of players is going to be like, "Oh, well, this game sucks. You can't even
Yeah.
play it on the PC," and then it's going to get the bad reviews, and then the bad reviews, and that just escalates into people not playing the game. Period. So, I, at least to me, that doesn't seem like a very clear answer that satisfies everyone. What about
Yeah.
you, Eli?
I have to agree because then, I mean, that's just making it worse for players because now you have a game that, I mean, possibly if you're gonna dumb it down, it's gonna be hard to play on, or maybe it might just be unplayable technically, right? And I think that wouldn't work for anybody.
You also have the issue of server strain, right? Because now if you're opening up the that particular game to, not just one set and one group, like let's say for example, you're playing on Xbox and you're opening up a server just for Xbox, but now if you're going cross platform, that server now has to also um, work for the PlayStation crowd, the mobile gaming crowd in terms of Minecraft, um, the PC crowd. that would inherently give the servers a difficult time handling all those people at the same time.
Yeah. Well,
Again, creating a more negative gaming
Wait, so
experience, right?
what you mean by that is like servers being filled up?
Servers being filled up, servers not being able to handle the amount of people that are on there,
Well, that's
servers slowing down because of the amount of people that are on there, then that trickles down to the game where you now see lag and things like that.
well,
You
And
know,
then the fact that they're on different platforms to begin with
but
varying speeds.
here's the thing: you have like games such as Fall Guys. They create servers where yes, it's not exactly Fall Guys wasn't even that laggy though. Like all you need to do is create multiple servers, like a crap ton of servers with a limited amount of people. Just not because if you're gonna say it's gonna be filled up, all you need to do is limit the amount of people there. And yes, that'll create more servers, but then those servers won't be laggy. It'll still take a lot to run though, because you're having multiple servers and stuff.
the last thing I'm going to talk about in terms of crossplay, and again, it references to PCs, right?
mhm.
PCs have had the advantage and the ability to be able to mod their games, to be able to hack their games, to be able to, well, basically cheat on their games. Um, Again, not something that consoles do. So how do you regulate that? What are the policies that you need to have in place in order to make sure that that doesn't happen? Because I think
Well,
we've seen in certain cases where people have been banned because they've been cheating, right,
yeah.
online and stuff. And I suspect a lot of those people would be PC players because of how open ended a platform that is.
See, this is interesting because, first of all, I just have to tell this story. So, there was an old game on the iOS mobile game. It was called Spider Man Unlimited, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah,
Um,
I remember.
I used to play that game, if not as often, but more often than what's it? I do DB Legends now. There would come a time where I would, because they had like, I guess they had like an online ranking system where if you participated in an event, that event was basically like an online thing, and you compare scores, rankings. Um, I would notice sometimes that if I got too close to the top or this one specific guy, that all of a sudden I wouldn't be able to get into the game, or B, I would have lost everything for like a few weeks, and then when I log on again a few weeks to a month later, I magically have everything back.
Yeah.
So it was just like freaking hackers, man.
And
Um Minecraft, though, I think has kind of handled, because
Mm,
I don't want to say that they've handled it perfectly, but from the modding standpoint, like I
well,
know they tried regulating that at first,
well,
but it got away from them.
modding is
But they
different.
kind of, found a way to like, okay, so we can't really stop you guys from modding the game.
Yeah,
So why don't we just make it a natural part of the game?
modding isn't something you can stop. That's just like that's add-ons to the game. It's like a DLC, I guess you could say. So it's not exactly it applies to everyone who is on a specific server for Minecraft at least from what I know. So, yeah. And like
Well, I think the biggest one of the biggest examples
yeah,
of cross platform, and cheating is the game that you played yesterday,
definitely.
Call of Duty. And that's a thing that's kind of been plaguing Infinity Ward for quite a while because, quite frankly, PC players, some, and then I'm not saying all, but there's a certain element of PC players that go onto these games, these platforms, and for lack of a better word, they cheat.
Yeah.
So the problem that Infinity Ward is having is that, when they do identify these cheaters, right, they ban them. But given the fact that they're PC players, all the PC player has to do is create a new account, go back on, and away you go. You're back on. And so it's kind of almost ruining the Call of Duty experience because of the fact that you do have cross-platform, and there are certain players on console that have actually turned the feature off
Yeah.
because of the fact that you have so much rampant cheating when it comes to this. So
Turn cross-platform playing
Off.
off. Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah. Because then that way, but so that kind of kills the experience then, because if you have a friend that has a different console than you, but you want to play with them, you're kind of stuck. Do you put up with the fact that you might encounter a PC cheater out there, or
I
do
mean,
you?
I wouldn't say that it's that likely. Like, you're not bound to run into a cheater every single match that you play.
Mhm.
But
There's a
they're out
lot of
there
them
though.
out there. There's a lot of them out
But
there.
they're definitely they're definitely out there.
So
But anyway, is there anything?
I think that we're gonna wrap it on that note. You know, PvP is generally a good thing. Cross-platform can be a good thing. Cheaters, not a good thing.
Never a good thing.
And toxicity, like you said before, a super bad thing.
Yep.
So,
Super duper.
all right. Well, I learned a lot today about video games and stuff. I'm an old school gamer. I don't play as many of the games as you guys do. For some reason, I'm trying to get into Minecraft, and it's very, very difficult for me to get into Minecraft. Just because of all the stuff that you can do. There's a lot of memorization and a lot of knowing recipes and things like that and
But
stuff like that.
you
But
got used to it though.
yeah, I guess I just have to keep plugging forward. So until then, it's fighting games and racing games and stuff for us,
Yep.
and shooting games.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, we're going to close this episode out. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening to us ramble on about video games and stuff. But that's what we love. So hopefully you guys love it too. I will remind you again, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast. And especially in this month of April, please go on to Podchaser if you can and leave us a review, because like I said, our hosting website, Captivate, has partnered with Podchaser to make sure that we can reach out and help some of our seniors during this pandemic by donating 25 cents for every review that you guys leave. And they will also donate 25 cents to any reply to a review that you guys leave. So, and this is going to Meals on Wheels, and it's going to that charity. And so it's a worthwhile cause, and hopefully you guys can help us out in that regard. So, on that note, I'm going to say from everybody here, this is Walt. Have yourself a wonderful, wonderful rest of the week.
This is AJ.
Your boy Eli. And may our paths cross again. That was so perfect.
That
I
was.
literally got it first try this time.
There you go.
My God.
All right.
That's the best PvP.
Later, people.
Debatable.
No, it's not debatable. Nope.
It's an opinion. It's debatable.
Nope.